it's a great opportunity for us, or for me, to be here, to have the honor to stand and speak about what happened in the 7th, our own miracle. Yeah, say that the 7th was our own family miracle for us. And except what happened, I think it's very important for you to hear the things that we want to do and we need to do in order to rebuild this region, this area that suffered these horror days. I don't know if you guys know, but the Eshkol region is quite small area, is built from kibbutzim and moshavim. If you look at just the Eshkol region, we talked about 1,600 people total. If you go to Sha'ar HaNegev or Sderot region, so we speak about 300,000 more, approximately. It's a very small area. It's an agricultural area. And it used to be one of the beautiful places in Israel, and it will be again. So I'll tell you a few words about myself. I'm 35 years old. I born and raised in Kibbutz Nirim, which is in the central of the Gaza Strip. It's about a mile from the border. I managed the agricultural operation in my kibbutz for 5 years, and in the last 1.5 years, I'm the VP of the biggest agricultural cooperative in Israel. For those of you who've been to Israel, Dod Moshe, Uncle Moses, the potatoes, carrot, this is our brand. So I'm managing the whole agricultural division. It's import, export, local market, etc. If you have questions about vegetables, I would like to answer afterwards. I'm quite familiar with this subject. And that's it. I'm married to Doron, my wife. She grew up in Kibbutz Re'im, which is nearby. That's a few words about myself. So basically, our story begins in the 6th of October. It was the best day of the kibbutz. It was Yom Shishi, the last day of Sukkot. Nirim is one of the kibbutzim that went on ground 1 year before the Israelis declared its independence, the 11th points, if you remember history. So they're celebrating a holiday of the kibbutz, which is celebrating development, they're celebrating agriculture, they're celebrating new kids, bless you. And it was just a nice event, Friday evening, 500 people approximately. There was guests, visitors, families from outside of the kibbutz. It was a nice evening, so we went to bed just every other day. At the evening, it was me, Doron, and our dog. We have a huge dog named Dubi, quite big one. And that's it. Around 6:30, we start hearing the alarms. As you know, in the kibbutzim near the border, there is no sirens. There is the red code, Tzeva Adom, if you know what it means. And then in my kibbutz, you have between 0 to 7 seconds to get to the safe room, because sometimes the siren and the bomb are happening in the same time. So we went to the safe room, the three of us. I shut the window, I shut the door, and it happened from time to time. And we said, okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it will all be over. We can go back to bed. Because Shabbat is the only day that my phone is not ringing from 6 a.m. to midnight, approximately. But that was not the situation. It kept on and on, the Tzeva Adom, the alarm. At the beginning, I thought might be some malfunction with the alarm system, because it happened as well. Because not all the time when you have the sirens, you hear an explosion. Sometimes it's just false alarm or something like that. Around 7 a.m., so after 30 minutes or so, we started to hear gunshots, like rifle gunshots. And then I thought, okay, this is a bit strange. Shabbat morning, something is not really okay, but still, I know the IDF. I served 3 years in a special artillery force in the IDF. I'm still doing reserve. I finished my reserve on Sunday just before our flight. I know the IDF. I know how the IDF works. I've been to Gaza 3 times. It's probably some infiltrators that getting inside looking for jobs. Sometimes they're getting inside and they are prefer to be arrested and spend time in the Israeli jail instead of in Gaza. So it happens from time to time. And as you know, they built the Michshol, the obstacles, the famous obstacle of the Gaza Strip. We were all sure that this is going to work. So, so then the gunshots are getting closer and closer. You can hear it louder. My house, or our neighborhood, is in the west side of the kibbutz toward the Gaza Strip. And then Doron started asking me if it's normal or it seems quite near us. And I told her, listen, I don't think it's that close. If it would be that close, probably be death by now because it's very strong and to hear gunshot next to your door. Pretty soon after I told her this, I started hearing Arabic language outside of my window or outside of my room. No, I know a few words in Arabic, so I realized that this is Arabic and not Hebrew. And she told me, listen, there is an Arabic speaker outside. I told her, no, it's not Arabic, it's Hebrew. I'm not really a good liar, but I try to keep the lie alive. So pretty soon after that, they shot some electricity transfer behind our house, and all the electricity fell in the neighborhood. So you can imagine a safe room that is smaller than this carpet that had been closed without any ventilation or so. So it became quite hot very fast. And then we start getting messages from our neighbors that there is terrorists inside their houses, or that they saw from the window that they kidnapped that one or shot that one. And then I get a message from my neighbor, which lives about 30 meters from my place. He sent me like a picture of a dead terrorist outside of his safe room while he was there with his 3 young daughters. So I realized that this situation is much worse than I thought or ever imagined. And I told Doron was on the 38 plus 5 weeks of her pregnancy at that day. I told her, listen, don't be stressed, but I'm going to take everything that is underneath the bed, and I'm going to place some baby clothes on beneath the legs of the bed in order for you to be able to go inside, because with the belly it was a bit struggle. I told her, listen, I'm going to bring my gun. I have a pistol on the other side of the house. I told her that there is no choice, but if I'm not coming back within a minute, you have to go underneath the bed and you will stay there until someone will come. But promise you, you will be okay, you will be safe, it will all be okay for you. So I opened the door, I start crawling toward the kitchen. During that, I tried to close all the windows that I could on my way. I brought my pistol, went back, and at the minute I closing the door again, they start shooting at the back balcony door of our house. And from some reason they didn't came inside the house from the door, because I think they shot the lock of the door and the door got stuck or something like that. So after that, they just went to the back of the house to the window and they start firing missiles or throwing grenades over there, and the shockwaves and the noise was just terrible. And at that point, I thought, or started to think, that Doron will not survive this, because the temperature already was so high in the safe room. And during those explosions, we start smelling the smoke. So we realized that they're trying to set the house on fire, basically. And then I got the answer of why it's getting so hot inside. So we just find ourselves sweating. But I never been pregnant before, but they told me it's quite hot normally on these weeks. So Doron was just sitting on the bed, dripping sweat. We had no water, no food, no nothing inside the safe room. And then I think it was already about 10 a.m. or so, and I find myself just standing in front of the door of the safe room with my pistol aimed at the door, holding the handle of the door because you cannot lock those safe rooms. Those safe rooms are not supposed to be locked. And on the other hand, we had a small baby mattress. So I waved a bit of the one so she could breathe a bit more easily. And you know, there is a point in this situation when you keep reading the messages that you see the chronologically way of thinking, or the houses that they are getting inside, and you say, okay, I'm not going to be the next, I'm going to be the next in two more houses. So it's about 20 minutes or so until they hear again, because they've been around our house and then they left and then they came back and then they left again. So we had absolutely no idea what happened, what's going on outside, but we just kept getting those those messages and voice messages that they are around. So then there is a point when you're standing there and you sort of accept the faith of what's going to happen, because you say, okay, the army is not here, obviously. You see the pictures from the people sent to you, and there is a point that you say, okay, this might be the end of our small family, but I will do whatever it takes to keep Doron safe. So I told her again, listen, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to hold the handle of the door. But again, if someone will come, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot like there's no tomorrow, and you will hide underneath the bed, and I'm going to hide you with we had a lot of bags and stuff, and just so I promised her that again she will be fine, and they would not touch her, and worst case they will have me, not her. So this situation went on for a few more hours. It was barely impossible to breathe. Around 2 p.m. already, it was hot as hell. It was about 130 degrees Fahrenheit inside the safe room. It was Doron could barely speak by then. She was red as a tomato, and the smoke was thick already. So every breath you take, you just start coughing right afterwards. And I was praying that the pregnancy is going to be okay. The pregnant is going to be okay, because it was a very precious one for us. It took us a few years to get pregnant, and there's no way that something will happen to this baby. Then around 2:30 p.m. or so, we're starting receiving messages that the army has arrived to the kibbutz. 2 p.m., 6:30 a.m. Imagine the time. It's almost the flight from New York to Tel Aviv that we've been stuck there. And they told us, if you're going to hear Hebrew, so know that these are soldiers. But make sure that these are soldiers, because there was a terrorist that dressed up as an IDF soldiers in my kibbutz and in other kibbutzim. So we're standing in the safe room, and we're hearing the flames from outside. You know, when fire occurs and it's nearby, the flame makes noise, and the noise is like I don't know how to describe it in English. The sound of flames, but when it's very near your house, yeah, it's sort of like whispering. I don't know. So we are still hearing Arabic outside of our house. We're still hearing explosives, and then we start hearing a lot of gunshot, and we hearing sounds of people that are shouting us. Is there any civilians inside the house? And I shouted back, yes, we are two and a dog in the safe room. And they shout, okay, open the door. And Doron is telling me, there is no way you're going to open this door ever again in your life. Forget about it. You and this door are done. And I shouted back, if it's the IDF. They told me yes. I asked what's the name of the unit and the personal ID number. So I realized that this is pure Hebrew, and I know the unit, and so I opened just a crack in the door, and I shouted to them, "Listen, I'm armed, so don't shoot me, because you don't know what to believe anymore. It was 3 p.m. or so, something like that, and you're pretty much losing all the trust or faith that you had in something." Um, so he shouted back, "Okay, open the door widely," and there's no electricity, no daylight, and I'm just standing there with my underwear and my pistol in one hand, and I see like 4 laser dots on my belly due to the guns from the guns of the soldiers that are standing in front of me. And the officer is telling me, "Okay, put the gun down, step toward me." And he asked me, "Are you guys injured?" Told him, "I don't think we are injured, but Doron is not in a good situation. She was almost unconscious by then." He asked me, there are anyone inside the house?" I told him that I got no idea. And then he whispered and he asked if there is someone with us in the safe room, or because there were hostages that was with the terrorists inside the safe room. And I told him that's for sure no, 100% no. They told me, "Okay, let's go back into the safe room." They sent the doctor to see Doron. And he told us, the officer, "Listen, you have about 20 seconds to dress up, to cover yourself, and we have to go out because they open up the whole gas balloons of the neighborhood and place the pipes inside your apartments in order to blow it up, because they didn't manage to set the house on fire. Or some of it they did, but not all of it." So we ran to the bedroom, or what left from the bedroom, just put a shirt. And then he told us, the officer, that the dog have to stay in the house because there's still battle fight or gunshot outside, and there is no possibility that we can take the dog, and if something will happen, he will start running, or I don't know. So I basically had to shove him back to the safe room and shut the door again. Then we left the house. The smell was terrible. It was, imagine your house full with smoke, or and the smell of the gunpowders, and holes from grenades all over the place. And we're just like, this is not my kibbutz. This is not my house. What's going on? And as we start walking outside, the sight was just, I cannot describe that. You see dead bodies on the sidewalks. So I covered Doron's eyes in order for her to not to see what's going on outside, because it was just not healthy, especially for a pregnant woman. And then they took us to a place which is quite nearby to our house, which is about 40 meters. They arrived to our neighborhood first, because most of the neighborhood were on fire, and with people that have been, say, trapped inside the houses. So they took us to some stairways down to a shelter, and when we stand there, they asked me to be outside because I had a gun, and there's still firefighting going on. You can still see terrorists running away, and the army shooting at them. It's just a battlefield inside the kibbutz. I don't know how many of you been to a kibbutzim, but I guess you saw the pictures of how kibbutz looks like. It's a park, basically. It's grasses and open spaces, and so then we've been to a few more other places in the kibbutz, because it was not safe yet to go to the other side of the kibbutz where they center the rest of the people or the rest of the neighborhoods. My connection with my parents was until 12 p.m. Since then, I didn't hear from them, and our battery was dead by then. So after a few more places, we arrived to the center of the kibbutz, or to the club of the kibbutz, where there is a big safe room. I arrived there with 4 other kids on my hand due to some parents that have been wounded or frozen due to shock or name it. So the situation was quite not nice to see. So we arrived to the club, and then they asked us the whoever have a weapon will be outside and guarding, and then we started to manage lists, but it's not a supermarket list. It's a list of who's here, who's in, and you know that the one who's not on the list is one of 2 bad options, basically. Um, Either killed or kidnapped. Those are the options at the 7th of October. My parents arrived quite soon after we arrived over there in their neighborhood, which is in the eastern side of the kibbutz. Was I want to say peacefully, but it was quiet that day. They didn't arrive to this area. Um, then we stayed there until it got dark outside, and I told the officer that I'm going to bring Dubi, the dog, with or without his permission. And he told me, okay, I will give you 2 more officers, and you can go to bring the dog, because it was still quite dangerous over there in this neighborhood, and there was a lot of still people coming from Gaza during the evening. Those were mainly not terrorists, but those were just civilians that arrived to steal and to cause some damage. So we went to the neighborhood. Just before we arrived to my house, the officer told me that he's sorry, but there are a few things that we need to do now, and because I cannot be by myself, I have to come with him. I don't want to get into really specific details, but it was to identify bodies and to go inside a house of my neighbors that have been kidnapped and to see if they are wounded or if there is blood, basically. So we did that. We went back to the house. We're standing outside, and he's on the phone, the officer, and told me, "I'm sorry, one more thing." Told him what? Say we have to circle around the block. It's not a block. It's not New York block. It's just 4 small houses. We have to circle it around and make sure that all the wounded terrorists or dead terrorists will, just to make sure they will stay dead and not get up in some way because of some terrorists have been wounded. So we did that, and then we're going back to the house. And the officer told me, listen, we're going to go inside as there is terrorists inside. We don't know if they are, they're not. So we have no idea because we are away for 3 hours and we have no idea if someone is hiding inside the house. So they get inside, they search the house, they open closets, they shut closets. Just, I don't know, this so bizarre situation that sometimes you see it and the brain is not accepting what you see, basically. So we went to the safe room. The door was open. I shouted for Dubi. He was underneath the bed hiding. He came out. He was happy. I took him back to Doron. Obviously, I didn't tell her that I'm going to bring him, otherwise she would kill me on the spot. And then we stayed there in the central place of the kibbutz until Sunday, 2 p.m. approximately, something like that. It was about 380 people in this small room or small area. And during that time, there are still missiles that have been firing into the kibbutz, and the alarm system did not work due to some communication failure, or I don't know why. But most of the time, you had to stay inside a safe room, but it's a bit impossible for 300 people to be inside. So they told us around 2 p.m. listen, you're gonna go to your houses, arrange some things, and when you give it the approval, you have to go out of the kibbutz in a specific road that they gave us, a specific ways that they give us. We went to my house with my parents because both of our cars been burned out, so we had to go with them outside of the kibbutz. So they gave us the permission around 3 or 4 p.m. I don't remember. So we start driving. The rest of the kibbutz went to Eilat. They are still in a hotel in Eilat nowadays. And due to Doron's pregnancy, we decided to go to the center of Israel. We went to Jesse's house. Jesse is my childhood friend. We went to his house. We arrived there in the afternoon or near the evening already. It was impossible for us to do anything or to go to the hospital in this evening, so we decided to go on Monday morning. Doron felt much better because she had drinks, she ate, and so Monday morning we went to the hospital. Everything was good. She'd been checked. Everything was okay. 3 weeks afterwards, on the 29th, he was born. My first one, first baby. Yeah. Thank you very much. We named him Karmi. Karmi is a vineyard, my vineyard in Hebrew. It's also from the Bible, the son of Reuven. I know a few things. Don't see me as So we stayed for 2 weeks in Jesse's house. At the moment, we are living in Ramat Gan, in an apartment that two sisters told us, take our house for as much as you need, basically. Two angels. So we are there. This is my story of the seventh. Basically, it was we had we've been very fortunate that day. I don't want to say fortune, but we have a miracle. It wasn't the case for many of our friends and neighbors and friends from other kibbutzim or families from another kibbutzim. I had to go to 140 funerals. I went for just one. That's the only thing I could. As for the kidnapped people, there was 6 people that have been kidnapped from Nirim. I know about 70 people that have been kidnapped all over the Eshkol region. It's a small area, as well as family with kids. And as a native, you know a lot of those people, unfortunately. So we're still waiting for miracles for some of them. Some of them we know that are already, they are not alive anymore, but the bodies are there, basically. And that's it about what happened. And I think one very important thing is what will be next, or what we need to do next in order to so it will be possible to go back and live there and rebuild this region. So basically, we are a group of friends from the kibbutzim in Eshkol region. We grew up from first grade together. We know each other for 30 years already. All of us in key positions in the south, job-wise. And we decided that we're going to do whatever it takes for us that will create the hope and possibility for us to put our kids in first grade in Eshkol school and not in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, New York, or whatever. So we're starting to started 2 projects, basically 2 main projects. This is our vision. This is our mission. So the first one is a mentorship program for the kids. We're going to take 150 kids from the ages of 6 until 18. And we're going to place permanent mentors for each of the kids, except the mentoring that the kids needs. It's going to provide respite for the families, for the brothers, for the grandparents that is guarding those kids at the moment. It's not a very easy mission because, as you know, they are spread out all over Israel, from Eilat to Tel Aviv or Netanya. Most of them without any educational frames at the moment, or schools or whatever. And except that, we understand that when you take 16, 17, 18 years old and you give them mentors, they will become mentors themselves after 1 year or 2 years. And for those communities is something that is much needed now, because when you see those kids and you see the researchers that have been occurred since the 7th, they talk about something. It's one word. It's called loneliness. Loneliness. And loneliness, I don't know if you guys know, but it's very associated with depression, with fear, with suicidal ideation, with eating disorders. There were already cases of suicide. They're not publishing it due to not give any trigger to the other kids or youth. So the situation is quite bad. And the second thing is to start a research with a big center from the Ben Gurion University that is basically wanted to assess and evaluate the situation of the kids, of the youth in the Eshkol region, in order to give or to create a big data that can provide us the knowledge of what to do with those kids in the educational system. Because you cannot just open the school one day and say, okay, welcome to first grade again. It's not going to happen. And this professor is showed us the history of those researchers that showed, for instance, I don't know if you thought about it, but have you ever heard about dental health that been bad after trauma? You've been heard that the eyesight is getting worse after trauma? No one thought about it, and we didn't know that. But this is what we have to deal with in the next few years. And those projects are going to run for the next 3 years, and hopefully 150 kids will become 1,000 if you will have the money to do so. We are working together with the Regional Council of Eshkol, with the Resilience Center of Eshkol. We're working with the Ben Gurion University. And we have to start yesterday, basically, because the situation is very bad. If you guys would like to hear more information about it, I can obviously send you the presentation and the information that we have at the moment. And we will do it because we don't have any other choice. I'm not gonna spend the rest of my life in Ramat Gan or Tel Aviv. We will go back there to the kibbutz. Thank you.
Am Yisrael,